Let's understand, when does CBI start an investigation. It is one, by order of constitutional courts. So constitutional courts are Supreme Court and High Court. They can directly give order to CBI to investigate a case on a petition filed by an aggrieved person. So the example could be in a custodial death case. In such kind of a case, since it is a very sensitive matter, the court would want the CBI to investigate the case so that there is no bias and there is an expedition of the investigation. Then on second is on request of the state government. So as we know, CBI is the central agency. It cannot investigate a crime or an offense in a state without the consent of the state. So there are it has to so the state government has to, if there is a law and order situation in a state, the state government has to has to request the CBI to investigate a crime. So the consent could be of two types: general consent and specific consent. So there are certain cases where the CBI doesn't need to have consent all the time. There is a general consent involved in it. So CBI doesn't have to take consent from the state every time to investigate that crime in the state. So those cases could include the cases involving central government employees situated there, working there in that state. So in those kind of cases, CBI can investigate the crime in a state without the state's consent. And the second type of consent is specific consent. So if it involves state government officials, not the central government officials, but state government officials, then CBI has to take consent under Section 6 of DSPE Act. Now, after the consent is received from the state government, what the CBI does is that how it starts the process. It first, registers an FIR and then starts investigation. So this is the process how the investigation starts from the CBI. And then the third kind of investigation, third scenario when the CBI starts investigation is upon receipt of complaint. It happens in a very rare case, in a limited case, but it mostly includes corruption against public servants. So if a person is aggrieved of the corruption being indulged by a public servant under PC Act, Prevention of Corruption Act. So, for example, a government official or a police servant or a sub inspector is asking for a money from a complainant, the other person, to get rid of the case or close the case which is pending against him. Then in such kind of cases, the complainant can, the person from whom the police official has asked the money, he can go to the ACB of a particular state or CBI directly and register a complaint. So when this happens, does the person has to go physically to CBI office to register the complaint? No. So it is not necessary to go physically to register a complaint. There are different other modes through which a complaint can be registered. So it could be by post or phone call to the concerned branch, or SMS or email, or posting complaint on the website. Nowadays they have a very specific and smooth procedure to register a complaint on their website. So if one wants to register a complaint, one doesn't have to go physically to do it. So after the complaint is registered, what happens? So after the complaint is made, what happens? The in corruption cases, what CBI does is it conducts a preliminary inquiry. So firstly complaint, then preliminary inquiry. If they and there is a verification also involved in the process. So if after the verification in a corruption case, if the CBI finds any evidence to register an FIR, then it may register the FIR and start investigation. If the CBI, after the verification of preliminary inquiry, doesn't find anything substantial to the complaint, then it can close the complaint, finding no substance to the complaint. Can CBI so moto take up the investigation of any crime anywhere in the country? Now, so moto means on its own. Can CBI on its own investigate any case in anywhere in the country? The answer is no. But the exception that we have is if the case is under the jurisdiction of central government, the CBI can automatically take up the case on its own. I mean, on so moto. But if it is within the state boundaries, then it cannot take, as we know that it has to take prior consent under section 6 of DSPE Act from the respective state to start the investigation. But there is another exception to it. The constitutional court, if the CBI is directed to conduct investigation in any state, then it doesn't, by the constitutional court, then it doesn't require any consent from the state. So the last point is that CBI, what are the limitations that CBI face? So if there is any political interference, as in lots of cases, CBI is accused of being politically influenced by the successive government. In those kind of cases, the credibility of CBI becomes affected, and it delays the investigation. Secondly, if on the jurisdictional limitation, as we know, it has to take consent from the state. So for example, if a state withdraws its consent, which CBI was investigating, then it again delays the process of CBI. Those are some of the limitations that CBI face during the investigation of a case. So these are the details that I wanted to give to all of you. And if you have any questions, please write it in the comment. I'll answer all of them. And thank you so much.